Should I be investing in crypto? That's the question everybody's asking right now. You go to the holiday parties and with friends, family, and everybody's talking about crypto, talking about Bitcoin going over 100K, and everybody's trying to figure out, is this something that I should be getting involved in? It scares me, and I don't understand it, and all those kind of things. My short answer is, yes, you should be investing in crypto, but I'm going to not just give you the yes, but I'm also going to give you the evidence of why it's a yes. Because there is a ton of evidence, and I'm only going to scratch the surface in this video. And what I'm going to do is we're going to follow the trail of breadcrumbs, so to speak, for the money. What is the money doing? And some people might say, what's the smart money doing? That means the top tier of our global financial system, the central banks and the big banks and JPMorgans and the Schwabs and the UBN Amros and BNY Mellons and those big gigantic banks. What are they doing in all this stuff with blockchain and crypto? That's probably important for us to take a look at and understand what they're doing, because what they're doing is going to drive what ends up happening in this whole thing with digital currency and crypto and digital assets and tokenization and all these other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you on this journey today and through a set of pieces of information that it's going to leave, I think, an unequivocal evidence for you and for me of why it's important that we start looking in our own portfolios about getting into crypto and getting into this whole thing with digital assets. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about central bank digital currencies. Let me clarify. Central bank digital currency is a currency that's created by and backed by the central bank of a government. And there's about 3 of them out there in existence. And you don't want to go invest in a central bank digital currency. That's not the point here. The point is understanding what companies the central banks are working with and what technologies they're using are key indicators of how this thing is going, of how money is moving toward this digital assets and how money is being, or value really, is being transferred over the internet using these central bank digital currencies and what the grand plan is. So I'm going to talk about that. And so let's dive into that real quick. First thing I want to show you is the central bank digital currency tracker, and this is something put out by the Atlantic Council, and you can go to this free website, and I'm going to scroll down and you see, and it talks about what is a central bank digital currency. It's what I said, is backed by the central bank of a government, and it's used for digital payments. So this is a chart of the world activity with the central banks with central bank digital currencies. If you look at, there's 134 countries that have some kind of activity with central bank digital currencies, and that's 44 of them are in pilot, 20 are in development, 39 in research. You can see, and then you can go to this map and, for example, look at the United States, and then you can see the United States there's a CBD status in development, and there's a retail and wholesale, which is the types of central bank digital currencies projects that the U.S. government central bank is involved with in regards to these central bank digital currencies. And so I want to scroll down and show you, when we look at some key pieces of information about what's happening with all these countries, you can see that it is tremendous activity. So far top left, 134 countries and currency unions, as I mentioned, that's 98% of the global GDP are in some way or some fashion investigating creating their own central bank digital currency. Top center, every G20 country is exploring a CBDC, and that the G20 are the top largest 20 countries in the world. Top right, 3 countries have fully launched a CBDC. I mentioned there's 3 out there. There's, as it says, Bahamas, Jamaica, Nigeria. And so then you go down the bottom left corner, I have 44 ongoing CBDC pilots, including the digital euro. So the takeaway from this slide should be, hey, central banks of the world are moving toward digital currency. And what does that mean for crypto? It means that because the CBDCs are being proliferated around the world, and there's going to be all these digital currencies and where money's moving back and forth, that the crypto world in general, that doesn't mean every single crypto, certainly not every single crypto, specifically those that are working with these global banks, are going to do well, are going to increase in value. And so let's take a look at a report that came out back in 2000. If you look, notice in the top left-hand corner, this report came out February 19th of 2017. And the report, as you see in the in the page here, the march of financial services giants into Bitcoin and blockchain startups in one chart. I'm going to show you the chart in a moment, but I want to talk about the information here. It says the bulk of financial services firms' investment have gone to Circle, Internet Financial, Coinbase, Ripple, and a handful of others. In other words, they're telling you back in 2017 where a lot of these investments went into. If you scroll through this page, it's at cbinsights.com, you'll see that there's a ton of information here really talking about distributed ledger technology being invested into, and really the big banks and others taking involvement. And this means not only banks, but insurance companies and others getting involved all the way back in 2017. There's a great quote. It says, deploying distributed ledger technology in production at this scale is a watershed moment for the industry. The combination of technology and business expertise being contributed to this project from across the participating firms is unparalleled, and the benefits are clear. These were folks looking at blockchain and digital assets back in 2018. So this slide, or this chart, is what I wanted to talk about, but I have this zoomed in, and let's take a zoomed in look at it. When I first saw this, that it was to me, it epitomizes the real reason why all of us should be saying, hey, this crypto thing, this digital money thing is for real. I need to be involved with this. I need to be figuring out how to get this in my portfolio, because if these guys started investing, if you look at the date on the bottom, all the way back in 2015, these, and you see who they are. It's the biggest financial institutions in the world. It's Citi, it's Wells Fargo, it's MasterCard, Transamerica, and Visa, and you can see the chart. Goldman Sachs, what people would call the smart money or the big institutional money, started getting involved back as early as 2014, 2015, 2016. That tells me that these guys were starting to make preparations for this new digital asset economy that exists today. And the FUD around crypto and blockchain has been, oh, it's dangerous, it's bad, and it's a bunch of baloney. Because have some of those things happen? Absolutely. Has bad things occurred with the wrong people using crypto in the wrong way? 100% yes. But if I'm looking at this, my takeaway from this is that if JPMorgan, if Citi, if ABN AMRO, if PNC, all these gigantic financial institutions started putting their money and their resources into Bitcoin and blockchain startups in 2015, almost 10 years later now, getting ready to come up on 2025, almost 10 years later, I should be paying attention to it right now. So let's take a look at another piece of information. This one is about, they talked about Ripple in that previous slide. It is one of the companies that got some part of the investment. Ripple's crypto is called XRP. Recommend you take a look at that. This is talking about Ripple and BNY Mellon partner to revolutionize asset tokenization in finance. BNY Mellon, unless you live in New York, you may have never heard of BNY Mellon. It's a gigantic bank. Specifically, if you go to BNY Mellon's webpage, it says that they have $50 trillion in assets under management. Now, to put that in perspective, many people have heard of BlackRock, and they've heard of Fidelity, and they've heard of Vanguard. BlackRock, I think it's about 11 trillion in assets under management, maybe a little bit under 11 trillion. Vanguard has about 10 trillion in assets under management. Fidelity is about 5 trillion. So Fidelity, as big as everybody thinks Fidelity is, it's about 1/10 of the size of BNY Mellon. And so Ripple and BNY Mellon partner to revolutionize asset tokenization. So what is, for those of you that may be new to crypto, tokenization is the underlying technology. I have a previous video on this you can go watch that talks about tokenization, but tokenizing what's called real world assets is the driver of what's making all this crypto stuff work, are the cryptos that have what's called utility. They actually do something. They're not just something created that's not doing anything. The ones that have utility and actually do something, as in tokenization, tokenizing a real world asset, could be a money market fund or a stock or a piece of commercial real estate. That's tokenization, or the things that get tokenized. And if you look at this article, you'll see that BNY Mellon is working with Ripple to be able to make that tokenization happen. And this article is pretty recent. It just happened 3 months ago, and it's on CoinMarketCap. You can go read it for yourself. But that's another piece of gigantic evidence that this tokenization thing is really moving, and I should be looking at companies that are involved in tokenization and who is BNY Mellon working with as far as the technology that they're using, and who's Ripple working with, what partners, technology partners does Ripple have that enable the XRP ledger to be able to do what it does for BNY Mellon. So those are kind of things to start thinking about. So let's take a look at another piece of evidence. So I've given you strong evidence so far. Let me give you some more evidence. So Citi and Fidelity. So everybody's probably heard of Citibank. You see their commercials on TV all the time. You have Citi and Fidelity International, and many of us have Fidelity investment accounts. So Citi and Fidelity, it says demonstrate tokenized money market funds and digital foreign exchange swap solutions. So foreign exchange is Forex, or like if I have the US dollar, a Forex would be the US dollar traded against the yen, or traded against the euro, or traded against the Swiss franc. And so that's the Forex market. So what they're doing here is being able to take tokenized money and exchange it for, or swap it in the DeFi term, swap it for one another seamlessly. And so that's what's going on here. If you scroll down this article and look at it, they're testing the tokenized money market funds with embedded digital FX swap. Banks speak for saying we're moving money between Forex into this tokenized money market fund. And so this is huge amounts of money that is being moved over this whole thing with tokenization and the whole thing of crypto. Another gigantic piece of evidence. Now let's take another look at another piece of information. So UBS is the Universal Bank of Switzerland, and or Bank of Switzerland. I think this Universal, but they're about a $5.7 trillion bank. And so UBS Asset Management launches its first tokenized investment fund. So once again, big money, trillions of dollars. They're investing in these tokenized funds. Money is moving into tokenization. Tokenization is the part of the distributed ledger technology, part of blockchain, tokenization. It all goes together. It's all work together. If you look at the article, you can see that amazing things are happening with this tokenization. They are creating this, talking about this global distributed ledger technology strategy that they have. And that's what it is. Distributed ledger is blockchain, and that's what blockchain is, the technology that Bitcoin rides on. Blockchain is technology that Ethereum rides on. Blockchain is technology that Ripple rides on, and it's the underlying name for the distributed ledger technology. Once again, another major piece of evidence. This one came out back in November, and right before the Thanksgiving holiday, a gigantic piece of information. And this, and if you're not following the crypto market, if you're not really paying attention to what's happening in crypto and really understand the impact of what this represents, the true weight of this can really be lost on you. But that's why hopefully you enjoy these videos. Speaking of, we'd ask you to help us to keep creating this content for you. We'd ask you to like our videos and to be able to like it and subscribe to the channel. So we ask you to help us out with that and get subscribed so we can keep creating this content and providing this kind of stuff for you to help you really know where to invest and why to invest. And also, we'd love to hear your comments. And if you have comments about the videos and things you want to hear in the future or want us to share some more information on, please feel free to do that. And so this particular piece of information, the crypto exchange Archax is going to offer tokenized money market funds which sounds familiar. You've heard this before from some of the others that I've been talking about, tokenized money market funds from State Street, Fidelity International, and LGIM. If you take those three in aggregate, that represents over $40 trillion of potential money being tokenized. $40 trillion. There's actually a quote from the CEO of Archax, which is one of the companies that is actually talked about companies that are working with Ripple. Archax is one of those companies. The CEO says that this representing over $40 trillion, he predicts that there will be $40 trillion by the end of 2026 of tokenized money market funds. And so that's a pretty bold prediction, but if he's directly involved in this, I have to pay attention to that. And so whether it's 40 trillion or 20 trillion, it's still trillions of dollars of tokenized funds that will be traded over distributed ledger technology that some tokens are going to be benefiting and going to be increasing in value, and some technologies are going to be used that I need to be paying attention to. And so for my investments, this is something that I really want to be involved in. And so you can see this one, the tokenized assets will be available on Hedera Hashgraph, XRP Ledger, and Arbitrum. Those are 3 different distributed ledger technologies that are out there. Hedera is called HBAR crypto. XRPL is the XRP crypto, and then Arbitrum is ARB crypto. So all 3 great projects. If you look at the last piece of information, so we've talked about BlackRock earlier. I told you BlackRock represented about $11 trillion. And so BlackRock months ago invested in a company called Securitize. So the importance of that is that Securitize enables things to be tokenized. I mean, and securities to be created for those tokenized assets. And so Securitize enables you to be able to go in and invest in securitized commercial real estate and different things. This video is not about Securitize, but BlackRock investing in them was a key piece of information for the market to say, hey, BlackRock's getting involved in tokenization, and BlackRock actually came out as part of this and said, hey, we're going to be tokenizing our commercial real estate portfolio. And so that is another piece of evidence that tokenization crypto market is really, if you want to think of it this way, it's kind of between the things that are happening with, I talked about the UBS and the Fidelity and those three funds that are coming together for the money market funds. It's really taken this crypto and tokenization, I mean, mainstream, and it's really blossoming and getting ready to just blow up, I think, in 2025. Notice that there's strategic partnerships. So another thing that BlackRock did, they created their BUIDL fund, BUIDL. You can, it's not build, but BUIDL fund that enables people to invest in crypto through a fund. And so that fund is now over $550 million. So it's another piece of evidence that the people are putting their money in crypto and to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars right now. And even billions, as you've heard. Hopefully this video was beneficial for you and you got a lot out of it, and we're going to keep creating it for you. And love to hear your comments. Please like the video and please subscribe to the channel.